All right, what's up, TikTok? How we doing? How we doing? Let's get it in. Let's get it in. Let's not commit too many sins. It's been a minute since I've been live on here. I haven't been going live that much lately. Don't know why, but I said to myself I wasn't going to kill myself this year over content because I'm not monetized. So I kill myself over something that I'm passionate about. Then it's not fun if I'm not passionate about it anymore. All right, so it's rant time. In this rant, so I'm going to label it, you're not an American if you don't have this mindset. Now, some people would probably take that as you're being discriminatory against people. I'm not. Whether you're a citizen, not a citizen, a legal resident of the United States of America, the purpose of this rant is to be like, you're not an American if you don't have this mindset. If you don't, because, we live in a time where don't care what political side you're on. I think both sides are full of ish. And that's my personal opinion. I don't claim either side of the political aisle. Whatever side you claim it. Whatever. Um, my mindset is that in America you have an opportunity, regardless who's in the White House, governor's house, and mayor's house. The thing that you're doing in your house, you have an opportunity to be like, hey, I can. Let me mute this thing. I have the opportunity to say I can be a business owner and I can be an investor. I've been saying this all the time. First person who told me this was Dr. Boyce Walker. Shout out to him. He says, not every family, not everybody in one's family can be a business owner, but one person in the family can own a business, and everybody within the family can be an investor in the economy, i.e., brokerage accounts, individual retirement accounts, 401ks, crypto, whatever the case may be, stocks, bonds, all that great stuff, annuities, insurance policies, whatever the case may be. And then, of course, you have the people that can be a business owner. You're not an American if you can't understand that simple mindset. And when I say you're not an American of the American mindset, not talking about citizenship and all that, because I know people want to argue online for the sake of arguing online, and I don't argue online. I don't argue with grown people unless we're talking about how to get some money. So if you don't want to argue about how to get some money, you're on the wrong channel. All right, go argue about football, sports, politics, or someplace else. We don't do that here. But anyways, so I say this because if you don't have the American mindset, if you can't understand that, regardless of your situation, whether you have a 401k, whether you have a business, whether you have a brokerage account, you're investing in somebody else's business and dream if you're not going to invest in your own. Even homeless people who beg for money are investing in other people's dreams, whether they work for somebody or not. Case in point, if a person who's on the corner in the most major cities nowadays all over the country, because I travel a lot, you're going to see a homeless person someplace. So whether they're going to buy drugs, going to buy alcohol, or actually just going to buy food because they're hungry and whatnot, the money that you've given them is going back into the U.S. economy. Because say if it's a liquor store, that's going into the U.S. economy. If it's a drug dealer, the drug dealer's still going to spend their money someplace else that's going to go back into the U.S. economy, i.e. a place to live, gas, car maintenance, insurance, personal property taxes, sales taxes, at the business, wherever they spend the money at, the grocery store, convenience store, whatever the case may be. Maintenance on the vehicle, money is going to be spent and invested into something regardless of the situation. So with that being said, I always say not everybody's meant to be a business owner but everybody is meant to be an investor, because regardless of the situation, you are an investor in somebody else's business and somebody else's dreams if you don't want to invest in your own. A lot of people invest their own by, opening up their own businesses. They invest their own by opening up brokerage accounts via various different platforms like I like to utilize, what is it? Ameritrade, Stash, Acorns, Coinbase, all that good stuff. Uh, and then, of course, people have individual retirement accounts where they invest their money in. People have, what they call retirement accounts known as a 401k, 401(b), TSP if you work for a government entity. And am I giving out financial advice? No. But what I am saying at the end of the day is that money is going to be invested whether you want it to or not. So either you're going to be a spectator or you're going to be a player in the game of economics. The choice is up to yours. But you're going to play in the game of economics if you live in the United States of America, because regardless who's in the White House, governor's house, or mayor's house, because the currency money is called currency for a reason. It's supposed to circulate and percolate, go up and down like a freaking merry-go-round, and flip flop like a politician in the stock market. So with that being said, You're either going to play the game or you're not. And you don't have the American mindset if you can't understand those simple principles. So while everybody else wants to, as a rich person once said, poor people vote for politicians. Rich people write checks to politicians. From Montana, California, New York, Texas, Florida, it's all the same game. And if anybody wants to debate that, then you're basically a lame at this point in time. But that's just my personal opinion. I'll leave it at that. Once again, I'm only going to debate how I can increase my value, increase my income, and increase my assets. If you want to debate about that all day, every day, put that in the comments. You want to debate about politics, you're wasting your time because I think both sides are full of ish. So I'll leave it at that. Because like I said, rich people, right? I'm from the DMV area. I live in the DMV area. Been through many presidents, been through many Congress people. The rich people, aka lobbyists, you can do your own homework on that, are going to write the checks. So because they write the checks, they have way more power. I've said this 1,000 times, and it's been a minute since I've said this. Who you spend your money with and who you bank with holds way more power than who you vote for. Because if you spend your money with your friends and you're supporting your friend's business, or you're supporting a local business, if you're banking with an institution that's going to allow you to get access to capital with personal loans, business loans, things of that nature, there's way more power in that than voting. But that's just my personal opinion. Not telling anybody not to vote, not telling anybody who to vote for. I'm just saying this is my personal thoughts on why I think both sides are full of ish. And I'll leave it at that. But anyways. So that's I was thinking about that. It's my little stance. And then there was a movie I saw a couple of weeks ago in Houston. Shout out Houston, Texas. I had a good time out there celebrating a friend's birthday and all that good stuff. And if you're watching, check out my Larry's Anything Goes LLC on YouTube and Patterson L Properties LLC on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. And if you know it's free, you know it's me. And that's the way to be. All right. So there's a movie called Send Help. It was actually good. I saw some romantic movie. I forgot the name of it. It was garbage. Couldn't watch it. I fell asleep in it. And when you're bored in a movie theater when you fall asleep and you're actually snoring. But anyways, it was a romantic novel movie. If you know the name of it, it was based in the UK, or what they call England at the time, and it was terrible. But anyways, the movie Send Help. Good movie. I would definitely recommend people go see that movie. And I rarely ever do that because I think like 99% of the movies that come out are garbage. But I will say for 2026, Send Help has actually been a great movie that came out, and I'm glad I watched it. So if you don't know what Send Help is about, it's an employee and her basically crazy jerk of a boss. It says insufferable, but I'm going to say he was a straight up jerk. He became stranded. They became stranded on a deserted island. The only survivors of a plane crash. Here they must overcome past grievances and work together to make it out alive. Now, spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you about the movie. So if you don't want to hear about the movie Send Help, then get off the video and watch this video when I'm done. Because at the end of the day, it's a good movie because it's based off of what could happen in life. They were the last two survivors up from the plane. I believe they were off the coast of Thailand. And they thought they were actually alone, but it was one of those islands where a billionaire stockbroker, a Wall Street person, owned the island and had a nice house because a lot of real rich people own islands. I'm not talking about Jeffrey Epstein because that was a psychopathic crazy nutball. But anyways, you know what I'm saying. Rich people that aren't crazy like Epstein own islands and whatnot. So anyways, long story short. Obviously people like that, they don't usually live in those islands year round because they have to go back to whatever country they came from to conduct business so that they can maintain their wealth. And the woman in the movie, she was able to, she found out ways to survive and thrive. She would go back to the house and get water and get food, but she actually did a good job of, what was it? She did a good job of sneaking into the house that the rich person had on the island. And she found out different ways to create, to build shelter, to go hunting for food, even though she was able to get food from the house, but she still went hunting for food. And she just felt way more alive than she's ever been in her life. Her boss, who was basically a spoiled brat, he did not have that capability of even trying to survive on his own without her. And she had to let him know on many occasions, even so she became a psychopathic person in this movie, that, hey, there are no rules out here. We're on an island. I don't work for you anymore. Your position means nothing to me. And that's because he treated her, moral of the story is because he treated his employees like crap and whatnot, he could not really survive without her. He needed her in order to survive. Because she even left him for dead when he acted stupid. She walked away from him, and he had to sleep out in the sand for a night. And he was basically to the point he was hurt to where he couldn't walk, so he had to withstand crazy rain, wind, stand all that crap, and basically almost died because he was dehydrated and malnourished. So moral of the story is how you treat people says a lot about you, number one, but then number two, trying to learn basic survival skills, regardless of what position you're in life financially, always helps out because you never know when the lights are going to go out. You never know when anarchy can ensue. It's been a crazy, harsh winter in the United States of America. And a lot of places have gone without without power, and especially in the deep south. And it's been a crazy situation. So, you know, and then how you treat people says a lot. Don't treat people like a piece of crap and whatnot. As a friend of mine from the service says, if you're a douchebag when you went into the service, shout out to our vets and our service members in the military, he said you come out even a bigger douchebag. And that's just the case in point. You know, treat people decently, treat people how you want to be treated and whatnot. Because the thing is, because a guy was basically, in a sense, a billionaire, he thought he could just treat everybody like a piece of crap. Eventually, everybody's going to need somebody. I'm a Capricorn. We don't really like people like that. But the people that we do love, we want to be around them. But the moral of the story is that is like, hey, eventually you will need somebody. And people who run successful corporations and organizations and even families, they always eventually need the help from somebody and wisdom from somebody because there's a team. Like Elon Musk, we like him or not, he might be a face of a company, but he's not the company. You know, not all the ideas come from him. Same thing with Mark Zuckerberg, same things with the team that runs NVIDIA and whatnot, Google. There's a multitude of people that are contributing their thought processes and their perspectives into the organization in order for them to flourish, in order for them to make their profits bigger than the year before, and to be able to go from there. But that's the main thing. The boss was such a douchebag that he ended up getting, unfortunately, killed by the young lady who was the star of the movie. But her message was, before the movie ended, she's like, remember, nobody's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And that's why I always say make money moves and get liberal like a fool, because you need to be able to have backup plans in regards to having savings, having access to capital, taking care of yourself, having a significant amount of food and water and whatnot, because things will happen. Having backup plans, heck, even when it comes to friends and sometimes significant others, because you just never know. Nothing is 100% in this life. As a woman once told me, who I used to work with, the only thing that's guaranteed in this life in America is death and taxes. And that's just true. So because that's the only thing that's guaranteed in life, friendships, relationships, family members, that's not a guarantee. You know, so go with the things that, for the most, even investments are not a guarantee, but they are a decent enough of a safety net to be able to pull back on in case something does happen. Government shutdowns, economy going to the crapper, inflation, tariffs. You have to be prepared. You know, you just never know when things are going to go to crap. So I leave it at that. So I think I'll just name this, you're not an American if you don't have this mindset. I think I will just label it as that. Once again, before I end the video off, I'm not crapping on anybody's legal status when it comes to immigration. I'm not saying that you even have to live in the United States to have this mindset. I think it's just a capitalistic, survivalist mindset to have, specifically if you're going to live in the United States, even in certain instances if you live in other Western nations or even other quote-unquote other nations around the world. So I have no family, did a great three things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Make money moves so you're getting like fools. Say in Spanish, bienvenido a la vida. Welcome to the life. I'm out. Have a good night.